I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. On Thursday, Senator Sherrod Brown led a Senate Banking Committee hearing about the housing crisis in the United States. Brown decried rising house and rent prices as it is putting first-time ownership out of reach, especially for families of color. The senator offered solutions to the crisis, saying, quote, "The answer is clear. We need more housing." Listen in to his full opening remarks.
Welcome to our witnesses. This hearing is in the hybrid format. Our three witnesses are in person today. At least one of our committee colleagues may attend from their offices, and we have continued that and will likely for a good while. You can't open up a paper or turn on the news without hearing about housing, how much it costs, how hard it is to find. The headlines tell the stories. The housing shortage isn't just a social crisis anymore. Why high housing costs could keep climbing. High costs spur more baby boomers to find roommates. What's up with the crazy housing market? That's just headline. Those are just headlines in the past month. It's not a new problem. Wages haven't kept up with the cost of housing for years and years. This country hasn't done enough to produce the housing we need. From 2000 to 2015, 23 states, about half the country, fell 7.3 million homes short on housing production. This shortage, of course, makes housing more expensive. Congress hasn't done its job for years. It was just last year that we hosted in this committee the first hearing on the state of housing in America in nearly a decade. One of the first things we did after I took the chairmanship. We talk about housing so much because it's the foundation of everything else in our lives. Where you live determines so much about your life. Where you work, where your children go to school, where you do your grocery shopping. It eats up the biggest chunk of most people's paychecks. Matthew Desmond, the author of Evicted, says the rent eats first. When housing costs go up, it means less money left over for groceries and gas and school supplies and prescription drugs. For a lot of families, it means crippling stress at the end of each month. How do I pay my rent? After I pay my rent, do I pay my electric bill or water bill or internet or daycare or pay off the credit card or make a payment on the credit card more likely? For years, the market hasn't produced enough housing that working people can afford. Home health aides and nursing assistants and restaurant workers working full-time have long been paid too little to afford even a one-bedroom apartment, let alone fulfill the dream of actually owning their own home. Meanwhile, young aspiring home buyers have long faced insurmountable barriers to home ownership. They're crushed by student loan debt. Black and brown families' parents were denied the dream of home ownership or had it ripped out from under them by predatory lending and can't help them with the down payment as many kids have been able to be helped. Over the past 2 years, with low rates making monthly mortgage costs just a little more affordable, some of these families thought that maybe, just maybe now was a chance to buy a home. But they found themselves competing with wealthy borrowers for too few homes. Often they weren't losing out to a family with a little more money. They were outbid by Wall Street investors from out of town paying in cash. Families told stories of spending more than a year looking for a home. A man in Senator Tester's state in Bozeman even resorted to standing on the side of the road wearing a sandwich board, asking anyone to sell him their home. He had put in 18 unsuccessful bids. There was just nothing to buy. And now with home prices rising to record levels and mortgage rates going up, home ownership's increasingly out of reach for renters hoping to lock in a steady monthly payment, find stability, build wealth. Recent cost increases have priced an estimated 4 million families out of home ownership. These are families who will now be renting in a rental market that was already too tight. Median rents in May topped $2,000 a month. And that's if you can find somewhere to live at all. Bidding wars that used to be limited to home buyers and in hot housing markets are now breaking out between renters and communities from Chicago to Port Orange, Florida, who are just trying to find a place they can afford. This exacerbates the wealth gaps we already had, put first-time homeownership further out of reach, especially for families of color. Because while millions of existing homeowners already have 40 times the wealth of the average renter, saw their wealth skyrocket as home values rose, renters, again, disproportionately people of color, fell further and further behind. We have underinvested in housing and communities for decades. Now we see the consequences. A recent report found a shortage of 3.8 million homes nationwide, double the shortfall we had just 10 years ago. Not a single state has enough homes to meet its family's needs. Unless we act, it's tough to see how renters, whether or not they want to buy a home, will ever catch up. The answer is clear. We need more housing. We need more housing available to buy from the millions of homeowners just starting out. We need more housing for renters, especially those with the lowest income. Our committee members are leading efforts to find solutions. I'd like to mention a handful of them. Senator Van Hollen has a bipartisan proposal with Senator Young to expand support for renters with the lowest incomes because we know the market doesn't build housing they can afford. Senators Reid and Collins have a bill to increase energy efficiency of our housing. Senator Menendez, also a member of this committee, has a proposal to help communities that want to make comprehensive housing and transit investments. Senator Warren, a member of this committee, has a bill to repair more of the homes we have and to produce new housing that lower income families, including families in rural areas and tribal communities, can afford. Senator Cortez Masto, here today as a member of this committee from Nevada, has a proposal to fund repairs in manufacturing housing communities to keep those communities a key part of our housing structures, a key part of our housing in this country, to keep those communities affordable for their residents. And Senators Warnock and Van Hollen are co-sponsoring a proposal to help communities invest in meaningful local projects and preserve the housing we have. We can do this while ensuring we're not displacing families and seniors from the neighborhoods they love. I look forward to hearing from the three witnesses today about the challenges you're seeing and your recommendations to support new housing in communities. We can't delay this problem any longer. It's a problem across the country. It's been decades in the building. It's not a Republican or a Democratic problem. Congress must do better. Senator Toomey.